I love a rich, buttery, and creamy caramel sauce. A homemade version is simple to make and can be used throughout the year for many desserts. I love it drizzled over ice cream, apple pie, the cream of my hot chocolate, or in my chocolate and cherries caramel oat bars. Anywhere you enjoy caramel sauce, use it. Today I'm making a simple, dry, homemade caramel sauce that uses granulated sugar, butter, and cream. Let's check it out. For the ingredients, you'll need granulated sugar. I find that superfine melts more quickly, but any granulated sugar will work. Butter, you can use salted or unsalted. If using unsalted butter, you'll also need salt. If using salted butter, you do not need salt. And heavy whipping cream. We'll begin with a mise en place, which is French for having all of your ingredients measured out and set out around your work area. Now this recipe is a dry caramel sauce, meaning there is no water to help melt the sugar. The sugar just melts on its own with the heat. To a large saucepan, we're going to add 200 grams, which is 1 cup of granulated sugar. Turn the burner onto medium heat. Stay near your stove. You do not want the sugar to burn. You want to stir consistently. You'll notice I'm using a wooden spatula. A metal one would be fine too, or spoon rather, instead of a rubber spatula, because these can easily break when the caramel hardens on it. As your sugar melts, if any of the sugar gets on the edge of the pan, you will notice that it will start to harden, and the only way to really get that off is with water after you've made your caramel. So it's best to try to keep the sugar off the edge of the pan. You won't be able to keep all of it off, but just try to keep it at the bottom of the pan. You can see the glistening at the bottom of the pan, and the granulated sugar is starting to turn into large sort of chunk sugar, but it will all melt as it heats up. So just keep stirring to prevent any burning. You're looking for the sugar to be completely melted. It can be easy to burn the caramel. What I found to be the key is to turn the heat down to low medium once much of the sugar has melted. And as soon as all the sugar is melted, the color is already amber, so you don't need to wait any longer for it to turn the color. And it's already starting to turn amber now. So that kind of tells you that we don't need our heat up too high, just low to keep it warm enough, but not too warm that it's going to burn. By the time all of the sugar melts, it will be done. And then we will add the other ingredients. Okay, most of my sugar has melted, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat down to low, a little bit higher than low, until it's completely melted. Since all of my sugar is melted, it's time to add the butter. We're gonna add 85 grams, which is 6 tablespoons of butter. I am using salted butter, and you notice when you add the butter, it bubbles up, and that is okay, begins to boil. If you are using unsalted butter, go ahead and add 1/4 teaspoon, which is 1.5 grams, and then you wanna whisk just until the butter is melted, and you wanna remove it from the heat. Notice I've switched to a metal whisk. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to slowly add 119 milliliters, which is 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and continue to whisk. You want to whisk until it's smooth. Once it is all nice and smooth, look at that pretty brown amber color, then you just want to pour it into a heat-proof jar. Notice the sugar that's left behind on the edge of the pan. That will come off once it's soaked in hot water. So you won't be able to get it up until it dissolves. Check out that pretty brown caramel color. Notice how smooth it is. It's got a few bubbles in it from stirring it. The creamy texture just oozes off the spoon. Yummy. Allow your sauce to cool completely before storing it sealed in the fridge for up to a couple of weeks. I transferred my sauce from the measuring cup when I first poured it in. Once it cooled, I put it in a different container. And I want you to see this has been in the refrigerator, and notice that it's not as runny as it was before, but it has firmed up. It would pour just nicely like this over ice cream, but you could also put it in the microwave for a few seconds just to heat it up, and it'll also make it a little bit runnier once you do that. You can put it over the stove too, just to heat, not to cook. Now your caramel sauce is used to use in any recipe that calls for caramel sauce, or to use as a topping for anything you desire. Let's actually taste it and see what the flavors are like. It looks just like the caramel sauce that you'd buy in the store. Oh, it has that strong caramel flavor to it. Definitely rich from the cream and the butter. Oh, and it's super smooth and creamy. It sort of reminds me of those little caramel squares that you buy in the store, the packages, and then you just melt them with a little bit of cream in the microwave. Oh, it tastes like that. Super good. I love to drizzle caramel sauce over my ice cream, particularly vanilla chocolate chip. And in this case, I'm using cookie dough chocolate chip ice cream. It's smooth, it's creamy, it just adds elegance and fanciness to a bowl of ice cream. In addition to ice cream, pour it over the cream in your hot chocolate, on your pancakes and waffles, over baked apples, apple pie, or use it as an ingredient in baked recipes that call for caramel sauce, like in oatmeal carmelitas. Why buy caramel sauce when you can make it from scratch in little time with very few whole ingredients? We love this recipe and hope you do too. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Until next time, indulge in some homemade caramel sauce and go bake the world.